Whew.
And we are live. What's up? What's up? How we doing, baby? It's Thursday night. You know what that means. It's the lit stream on FanFest. We appreciate y'all. I am Crunk Chocolate. We got the Sharpie. We got the Lando. Cherokee is handling business, but he'll be back. Don't worry. We have a fantastic show for you. So
Let's go.
Hey, and then we got the homie from NAFTAA, which I'm gonna have him break that. I cannot remember it, but I love the name. I'm never gonna forget NAFTAA. But the homie John, and then Vator Games. He's gonna come through. He's gonna pop up. He's probably already done like 3 other live streams, and he's just gonna come over here and grace us with his presence. I mean, man stays busy, just
The legend.
spreading the gospel city. When he gets on, and he's an entertainer, a storyteller. But let's get into it. Champions League, shall we? Barca putting 3 in Paris. Kylian Mbappe basically disappeared. Arsenal, Bayern, they ended up with the draw, but Harry Kane still finding a way to torment his London enemies. That's kind of brilliant. I called it with Atleti and Dortmund. Just the dark magic was aplenty, overflowing in that match, and Dortmund had no idea what they were doing. Shout out to Aller, the AFCON winning champ, coming through and showing what clutch is, giving Dortmund a semblance of a chance in the next match.
Great hair.
Yes, and we'll talk about Real and City plenty later. So let's just stick with these 3 matches. Sharpie, since you seem to always be the more sensible one of us, I want to let you get your takes off before I and Lando start our ridiculousness.
Yes.
All right. Love it. I think first and foremost, the kids at Barca are really, really fucking good.
Yeah.
They started kids in the back line, the center back. You got Lamine Yamal up top. You got Pedri, who's been around forever but still under 23. And like every level, they're great. They're not good, they're great. And they didn't look, the moment wasn't too big. They went into Parc des Princes and they played their football. I believe, PSG started out hot, but Barca kept coming, and the class shone through. City helps everybody in the world. So Jao had a decent match. Gundo was out there doing what Gundo does. I believe he has the most. It's either like most chances created in Champions League this season, which is crazy. And the man was a free transfer. So shouts to Barca. And I will say this, like for everyone up here, like my first shirt, I saw it this morning. My first shirt was a Xavi shirt from like 2012. Like Barca is the reason I fell in love with football. And then I chose City to be my club later, but like that style, that Pep style is what got me into footy. And so every time, they can do what they do, it does pull at the heartstrings a little bit. But on the other side of things, the Arsenal-Bayern draw, like it was a tale of 2 halves almost, where Arsenal clearly had to grow into the game. Sané was dominating to start. And I think once they pulled him, that's when Tuchel made a stupid decision. He let him stay out there. He was cooking all day. But once they pulled him and Arteta put Zinchenko in for Kiwior, things got more level. So I love the way that like matchups are set for next week. Like nobody's ahead by 2 goals. Everything is tight. And I think that's the way we want it, right?
Yeah. Charlie, just to confirm real quick, 2012 Barca shirt, was that the Qatar Foundation in front of it in cursive?
No, it was the last UNICEF.
Oh, that's dope. Okay. Because 2012, they had the alternate all-black kit. Bro, every year on FIFA, I rock that kit. Or every game in FIFA, I rock that kit. The all-black with the gold Qatar writing, one of the classic kits Barca had.
So I did it's the 11-12 season. I got it. My girlfriend at the time was abroad. Yeah,
UNICEF with the little globe right next to it. That's dope. That is dope. The yellow lining on the collar, I like. That's clean.
Yeah.
But yeah, how y'all feel about it, man? I know now let's get the ridiculous. That was a sensibility. Now let's go crazy.
Go ahead, Crunk.
Giggle, let's laugh.
Spit it out, Crunk.
No, I want to let you.
I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and
no, Lando, I want to let you cut.
Oh, hold on. Another level of realism we have. T, my guy. Good to see you.
I was gonna sit in the background and eat my food and not mind my own business. And then I heard Charlie when I got back to my desk. I heard Charlie say, "Well, it's tight. It's 2-2. That's exactly like we want it." In what world do we want it to be 2-2? Now, maybe I missed some stuff because from my perspective, I want to be up like 6-0, but so hearing him say 2-2, I was like, no, I want to be up. I'll take the, what is it, 3-3?
Mm-hmm.
So from the other perspective, the other games, yeah, them being drawn or whatever. Actually, I just want Arsenal to lose. To be honest with you, I want them to lose.
Agreed.
And I wish they would have lost.
I'm a bit surprised on how that game went. I thought Arsenal were going to go ahead and flop a little bit. I thought the nerves were going to kind of get to them. For Saka to go ahead and hit the first goal, kind of big, right? Kind of settling them in. Charlie's exactly right here on this, guys. What an absolute round of games. I mean, even with the Dortmund and the Atletico Madrid being a bit of a not snooze fest, but like Trunk said it, the dark arts, right? We knew there was going to be some absolute filthy tactics, delay, Diego Simeone doing his absolute Cholo things out there. So we knew that was going to happen, but the games were wonderful. How beautiful. Everyone loved Europe that night. And it's great to kind of see that fans in unison can kind of be happy about the type of ball that they saw without ever even thinking of a Manchester United or a Liverpool. If you would have sat there at the end of that day and just embraced what we saw, no one, even their fans were like, oh my gosh, those games, incredible. So I'm all for it. A toast. We survived Madrid. We survived and did what we needed to do. T is spot on. We would have loved a victory. We take it, we move, and we'll see you at the Etihad. Love it. Love it.
Mute.
I think Crunk's got some technical difficulties. No, don't got it. Yeah. He'll be back.
I will say this real quick, though. Mm-hmm. We did that at the Bernabeu without 4 of our really top 11 players.
Go on.
Kev, who got sick. No Walker, who's recovering. No Ake, who's recovering. Ederson. And again, not a huge drop-off, from Ortega to Ederson, but still, Ederson was on the bench, right? So, you go back to Man City next week, rested, ready. 3 of those 4 at least should be back in the starting 11. That's why I say it was like what we wanted. Just like last year. It was less goals, but the same effect, right? You leave Madrid with a draw. You say, let's go win a match at the Etihad. I think we're 27-2 in our last 29 home matches since the Lyon loss in Champions League. This is what we do. I have no fear when it comes to next week.
Yeah. So next week.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
I want to bring Saul on. So I'll bring him on after Tarek.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and we can bring him on and then we can answer it. But if by chance next week Kyle Walker is healthy, we saw what Akanji did, assuming that everybody else is healthy. Because it's not, I don't want to plug Walker in and take Stones out. But if everybody that played was healthy, who do you have at right back? Do you put Kyle out there or do you let Akanji keep doing what he's been doing? Go ahead, bring Saul on. We can have him answer that too. Yeah.
Hey, and our first guest, the homie, we try to bring him in as often as possible. Some of you may enjoy his posts, but you might not know it's him. Actually, nope, let's not out the admin. Let's just bring him on.
Share secrets out here.
It's good. It's good to be able to keep yourself anonymous. So, what's up, homie?
What's up, guys? Happy to be here.
Yeah,
always a great time with you guys.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's get you right in. Would you start Walker at right back if he's healthy, or are we keeping it cool and doing a Kanji?
I think you have to start Walker. I think in that goal, I wouldn't say obviously it wasn't 100% his fault because there was still a couple rebounds there. But I think you do have to start Walker. My question would be Stones, his health, because he doesn't look 100%.
Fast.
Foden also maybe a little touched
Mm-hmm.
up. So I think you take Stones out, you slide Akanji to center back, start Walker, and
Yes.
let's go win the game from there.
Yes, because it wasn't even that the problem was Akanji was struggling. It was he was Vardyall's on the other side. So we have athleticism on the wide, but inside is they were just kind of like food, and he can't make too big of a choice or try to tackle or go after the player because he knows he has John Stones in them, and if they're behind, which chances are they're definitely not going to be able to catch up. So he had to kind of hold until hoping that he could get support a little bit more. Tarek?
Let me change the question up. Assuming
Okay.
Walker is back and so I say you could switch Akanji for Diaz. Since you talked about the pace, we know Akanji's quicker than Diaz is. What do you think about moving again, assuming Stones is healthy, having Stones Akanji instead of say Stones Diaz with Walker on the right?
Yeah, I think Diaz has to start. I know Crunk was I don't know now, but he didn't used to be the biggest fan. But I've always been a Diaz appreciator. So I think it's because he brings a lot, not just the playing, right? He brings a lot of passion, a lot of leadership, a lot of intangibles. So I think he's almost I wouldn't say a must start, but about as close as you can get. Not KDB or Holland level, but close. So I think he has to start. If everyone's healthy, I do think then Akanji would probably slide to the bench. Even though I like him a lot, but Stones is just the problem with Stones is he's never healthy, but he's incredibly good. So I think that would be the move.
I know for me, man, like give me the black line. Like I think those are like we need athleticism on the pitch against Real Madrid. We saw what can happen when you have Stones and Diaz out there. So give me Walker, Akanji, Ake, and Vardiol. Like I think that's our best all around back four of defense. What up, Tom? And I'm the one who started the fact of like Ruben Diaz being our least athletic center back. It's a fact. It is what it is. The truth is the truth. And you need athleticism against Real Madrid, or you will get cooked. And so now, do I think Pep's going to take him off? No. Diaz is going to be out there if he's fit. So in that case, put in Akanji for Stones, just because I feel like Stones isn't going to be right. Like something's going to come out in the next week where he's got a knock, and we saw him like going against the physios and all that. So like, give me Akanji, Basau, or Walker, and that helps us out tremendously, I think.
Yeah. Saul, entertain me real quick. I'm going to bring to you another wonderful segment called Explain Your Tweet. Saul, April 1st, some nincompoop decided to put out there. I'm going to make sure I get the dialogue and the narrative straight because I want to make sure we hear it in the voice that I hear it. Arsenal can only go to away ground against a reigning treble-winning team where they have lost eight times in a row. Stop their opponents, who have netted in 57 straight home games, from scoring, earn a point where no team has won in 16 months, and still get criticized. So, you retweeted, because you're title contenders, playing like you're trying to avoid relegation. There's no reward for that. Now, what did you mean by that?
That exactly what you read. It came off as maybe condescending is not the right word, but close to it. Because they did play like Sheffield. We got to call it like it is. They were going, defensive masterclass. They were saying all these things. If they would have played Sheffield and Sheffield did that to them and got a 1-0, could you imagine the uproar? It would have been the same. So that's why.
Thank you.
Arsenal fans, they're starting to catch Liverpool in terms of annoyingness on Twitter. So.
Preach.
I love that. Okay, let's.
What does Pep say in our intro? Like you have to have courage to play. Like the courage to play. They did not show the courage to play that particular Sunday
at all. At all. I want to start with this topic because I already know who I'm going to say, and I'm sure everybody already knows what I'm going to say about this. The one transfer wish. And what I want to say is transfer wish because there's still a possibility.
He didn't even have to say transfer. I knew exactly who he was talking about.
Yeah.
Especially, well, and was it a Sharpie who sent that screenshot to the Slack chat? Like he knew exactly why he sent
The two
that.
you were in link there, huh?
He sent it knowing I would be the first one to reply or say anything. It was just like I know it, and I feel like there was a couple weeks ago where there was a post saying that Musiala the city wasn't happening, and I know it's up down, but when that came out, I was steadfast. I retweeted that and said, I don't believe this nonsense. It's not happening. Maybe Musiala was buying into the idea of Tuchel leaving and what they could be doing in the future. And then he just experienced, Champions League. And there was this recent form with Bayern, with Harry Kane. He just truly can't. That anti-trophy, just loser stank. It can permeate in his potential. That's what I worry about him. You can't be around such a consummate loser like Harry Kane and not have that
in the locker room.
Ick you. Yeah, I'm just worried about him. He needs to get out of there.
He said, "You're saying that it got in the walls at Bayern." Harry Kane got in the walls at Bayern.
Okay. Yeah,
it is white mold. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not you calling this man blue cheese. I can't stand you.
Oh no! I've been in the walls and asbestos.
We got to remember, Eric Dyer's also there too. This is a double dose of loserism that's all in that damn locker room right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's doubled up. It's nasty.
And yet that same team. Go ahead.
Oh no, you go.
That same team.
I want you to dunk on them, please.
Without having traveling away fans, still managed to come to London and get a result.
See, and Sharpie was like, "What will we talk about?" Because I was like, "Let's laugh at Bayern and Arsenal." He's like, "Why would we laugh at them?" And Shando, he's like, "Why wouldn't we? Of course, that's just what we got to do. So let's stream." But Saul, I want to ask you, who is your transfer wish?
I really want Paqueta. I rate him pretty highly. We already have 3 players coming in: Savio, Jan Koto, and the kid from Argentina escapes me. He's also a winger, so I don't think we need Echeverri. Yeah. So I don't think we need offensive weapons. I think we need someone to come in, try to be as close to Rodri, maybe a little bit of Gundogan, something that we've been missing for a while, something that we really need. And the problem I see with Musiala, obviously I would want him and I would take him, but that would send Foden out left, right? Because the 10 experiment would not be. It'd be done because we'd throw Foden out left, maybe Grealish, something like that. So then Musiala would become maybe not a luxury, but about close as you can get to. So, although of course I would love him if we sell, Grealish, Bernardo, and a couple other pieces. Bring him, Words, Paqueta, bring everyone, right? But
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just deductive thought process here. Bernardo's out. Let's just talk realistically. Bernardo's gone this year. Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Paqueta and the infatuation that we have with him, even post gambling and post bets, seems like it's a pretty well certainty we're going back in. Should we? I feel pretty good about getting him.
Yeah.
Am I crazy for thinking that Paqueta's going to potentially be used if, and I guess maybe I should start it with the preface, if then statements like we're in Theology 101. If we are assuming that the Jamal Musiala hype is real, then is it safe to assume or think that maybe Paqueta comes using him as a right-wing Bernardo replacement? Look at the balls that Paqueta plays. A lot of the over-the-top stuff. Look at how Bernardo's been used as the wing. Holding, kind of making some runs. I've seen enough of Paqueta to feel comfortable to have him utilized in the same way. Not necessarily saying that it's going to be like a foregone conclusion. Reminder, King Kevin De Bruyne is still around, but I think he starts to be on that little bit more of a rotation, implying if he plays on a weekend, he's not getting the midweek game. We'll see him the next weekend. And if that's the case, a young Jamal coming in that midweek game would be ideal. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I can see that because the thing I like about Paqueta is he's aggressive enough to play the 8/6, but he's also, like you said, is creative enough that you can throw him out right for in a pinch or even on someone with a low block where you need some more creativity. So I think it could work. The problem is we don't know who's getting sold, right? Because there's Grealish talks, Bernardo's almost assuredly leaving, so it's gonna be a tricky summer for Pep, and I don't want to say it, but he doesn't have 5-6 years left. He has 2, maybe 3 max. So we got to see what he's doing, what he wants for these next couple seasons.
Oh yeah, who's gonna run the miles Bernardo does when he leaves? Nobody. Pep is gonna have to figure something else out. I don't think there's someone with the industry of him. Like you would like to think it could potentially be Alvarez, but I don't really want. He's not as technically talented as Bernardo to then focus like with all that energy that would be needed. Bernardo can just make that switch so quickly because he's a killer like that.
The closest comparison the closest comparison to a Bernardo, and again it's far off because this guy's still younger, and what Bernardo does is such an amoeba. I mean, he will literally touch every blade of grass for us. It's crazy. João Neves, or I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing it wrong. João Neves. That young boy is the potential. I'm telling you, Crunk, I've seen enough. I believe in him.
I want it.
Do you like him? Do you rate him?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm huge on this dude. Because I understand Paqueta, he can play right next to Rodri, he can play up, and that's what people enjoy. But I think if we want a true Rodri, he's the closest thing that we're going to get to it, at least at the moment. And I know he's like a smaller dude, but he's going to have to grow into his body. I think he could figure it out.
Yeah. I think I saw a tweet the other day. Someone summed up Paqueta really nicely. It was like he's a Galactico player that's playing at West Ham, and he does not belong at West Ham. He belongs at City or Madrid, but you get the idea.
It's so valid.
Yeah. In Madrid had too many midfielders. Give us some of those. Yeah. I want Valverde.
Which is another thing. They're going to become the new villains next year. The rest of world football is going to need us to save them from Madrid. So keep that in mind when they sign Davies, Mbappe, Hendrick's already coming. Who knows who else? What other rings Florentino Perez is collecting? So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, but keep an eye on the fact that they don't get any scrutiny for the signings. They get praise. When Real Madrid does it, it's Madrid doing Madrid things. When anyone else does it, it's they're ruining football. It's come to expect it with Real Madrid. It's shameful shit. Fuck the Bernabeu. Nadie tiene miedo of that shit, bro. Your shit's overrated.
Close the stadium and everything.
Yeah.
Would have got him.
And you hurt my boy. Fucking paella.
So I know Crunk. I know you want Jamal. I heard Orlando talking about bringing him in and maybe him playing those midweek games. I don't think that happens. If you go get Jamal Musiala, he's got to play pretty much.
I'm afraid of that.
And so my issue would be we also have, we also have Phil Foden, who needs to be playing week in, week out in the center of the park. So I'm just concerned that Jamal Musiala is stepping in the way of what Phil is doing. Unless you're going to play him out. One of them is going to have to play out wide. And I guess you could try a dual 8s, or dual 10s. I just don't think that happens.
He won't do it with Kevin. He's not going to do it with Jamal.
I don't think that happens. So my concern, like my concern was with bringing in Daku, is what does that mean for Cole Palmer's, growth and development, which we saw what happened there. I don't want to bring in anybody that's in the same, that's competing with Phil for that spot. I think Phil is the starter next year, and KDB is the one that is more of a spot player in that center of the park, number 10 spot. and I don't want anybody to mess with that.
What I'll say is that I slightly disagree, I think, because I feel like we play two behind Holland, right? It's usually 2-8s. And so if you really want to think about a transition, and we need to fully transition from Bernardo, who's close to 30, Kev, who's over 30, you do want to get a Word, Spaqueta, whoever, or Musiala in to play beside Phil, right? Phil is the guy. We know that. We see that. He's the one. You need someone now to be his – we need a Gundo, if you really want to think about it. And Kovacic is like a nice bridge, and he's a transitional, he's a rotational player. But to get a true 8 beside Phil, I think you get one of those people in. And then when it comes to Rodri, I think that's where Paquet, that's where hopefully we can develop Nunes, Mateus Nunes, so he can be the one that give Rodri more rest. But obviously that, just takes time, and that position is the hardest position on the pitch. But I think he's obviously further ahead than Calvin Phillips, because he played way more than Calvin Phillips this season in his first year. So I feel like, and that's just a fact, right? And I think as far as the wings go, we have Daku. Bob should get more run next year. You still have Grealish. So I feel like there's a nice, and again, we know Pep's not going to get a big squad. We know what's going to happen. He's going to have 16 outfield players, 16 to 18, and then we go from there. And so I feel like if we bring in 2 of those people that y'all are talking about, I think we just keep this train rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the right wing is specifically important, because I think with Savio coming in and Doku, Pep's going to have to work to get them, part of the team, because they are such individualistic players. So that's going to be another challenge to add on top of whoever they bring in, for the 8. So it's going to be a fun summer, although the season's not over. But
yeah, how are we feeling about, before we get you out of here? How are you feeling about Luton? What do you think the score is going to be? Because I assume we're going to have heavy rotation. Rodri basically after the match was said,
begging,
sit me.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the Julian Alvarez show. I think he's gonna have to show out. He's gonna have to do everything a little bit much, but close to it, because we need to rest the people that we need to rest. Because we play Wednesday, right? Wednesday is you can't lose Wednesday. You cannot lose at home with all the cards in your hand. So I do expect heavy rotation, but heavy for Pep is different, right? Because it might only be 4 or 5 players, but I think those 4 or 5 players need to be the big guys. Haaland, probably one of the center backs, and maybe another midfielder. So we'll see.
Rodri's the midfielder, right? Like, sit him, sit Haaland, and sit Stones.
Bernardo.
Stones it. I honestly.
Yeah.
Bernardo. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Nunes got to get he's got to earn his stripes somehow, right? So might as well be Saturday.
You calling it? You got him earning his stripes this weekend?
Right at home.
Probably not.
He played in the FA Cup, so I don't see why he wouldn't play him, right? Like, so like we're gonna have like 5 or 6 rotated for sure. Like, people gotta rest.
I just think Alvarez will have a good game. We should get the win with Alvarez. So.
Calling Bernardo Wick is crazy, but also salute. Saul, please plug yourself. Let people know where they can find you and the things that you're up to.
Yes, follow our website. We're with the SB Nation still, hopefully for a while longer. It's bitterandblue.com, and you can check us out also on Twitter. It's bitterandblue1. So cover everything city, men, women, some academy. The academy is a little less, but we cover everything. So check us out.
They do good work on the women. So
they
shout
are
out
the
to
family for a reason. Yep.
Let's go.
Yep. All right, homie. Appreciate you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.
Come on, City. All right, let's bring the next guest on. He is the only non-city guest today. So I'm going to be nice. We're going to see how his energy is. Honestly, a lot of his topics are about, well, not about city, but, we can talk about the club he enjoys, he supports, and then also city things. But also, I feel like he's being messy too. He has a podcast of his own, NAFTAA, NAFTAA. Check it out. It's actually, I love it. What I've talked about is artistic creativity for his episode graphics. chef's kiss. I truly still to this day enjoy whenever it pops up. He's inspiration. I really do need to get back into my editing game, but let's bring him on. John from NAFTAA.
I gotta say, I'm a City fan.
I was gonna say he had the poster on his wall.
I'm the
I was like,
worst.
wait a minute,
I'm
hold
the
on.
absolute worst. I'm the absolute worst.
No,
First, I
you're
called
good,
him.
bro.
First, I
Chris.
called him Chris, and now I
Yeah.
forgot what team he supports.
Hey,
I'm
we got
obviously
we
my
got-
brain is breaking down.
we got 4 dudes on the pod. It's confusing. We all talk at each other. You guys probably experience that sometimes, so don't even worry about it. But
I appreciate. I appreciate you.
oh, damn.
I'm a big fan of Shogun. I'm seppukuing myself right now. Like it is. I don't deserve any of it. I am
All
the
good.
worst. I apologize.
All good. No. Thank you guys for having me back on. It's great chatting with you. First things first, congrats. I know you guys got the live shows coming up. That's gonna be amazing. Like, right? Like, good luck with that. It's obviously a big jump in an endeavor, but you know, I'm hoping that you guys like it goes great. Sharpie just jumped off, but I gotta ask. This is my first question. He said that he wanted the black line, and I noticed he mentioned a name in there, Vardial. And I gotta ask, is this man getting invited to the cookout before Stones?
No, Stones is already in. He's locked in. Stones is locked in. Stones is locked in.
No. The black line means the top 3. We love Leo Rico, but he's not playing in Champions League. So it's the best 3 we got, the OGs. And then you got to have fast guy on the left, big 20.
I feel you.
Wait a minute. This is a bit. We got to put a rule to this. Can we call it the black line when we have a full back line of our wonderful African Americans? My man, he's got a point here. We can't be throwing black line out there and good old Joskow's out there in the left back corner. Like, hello.
Whoa. I created this. I call it what I want. So, Wesley, it means 3 out of 4.
Now we can do the quadruple? What did I say?
No. You're just making words up. I mean black line as in when you actually look at the defense, Vardial goes up top more than anything.
Okay.
And of course, yes, if we had all 4,
what position did he play, Charlie?
Let's be realistic. He starts at left back and he plays mostly left mid. Look at his heat map.
Big run of play guy.
Look at his heat map. I love it. He's so right.
Man, a wing back and the shit don't count.
Is he not?
He said, I don't give a fuck about your one drop rule. Fuck you.
So he can argue and make his stuff.
No. I created a term. You are making things wrong by numbers. Like that's just different. That's just the English language.
You understand how this doesn't make any sense. You understand how
this is amazing.
You're just speaking gibberish. For someone who says words mean things, you are just making things up.
Anyway, the black line is pretty damn creative. I gotta be honest. I love it. I want to run with it.
The black line having 3 out of 4 to start. And again, being realistic, unlike some people on this spot who don't like realism, Rico's not starting. So we're never going to get 4 out of 4. Thusly, the blackest line possible. Let me give an EST there. The blackest line possible. There we go.
Love it. I love it. I do want to talk about the back line, though. That was like the first thing I want to say. And I know, Crunk, you looked at my topics, and I look a little agitated probably with what I wrote down there. I got to start with, as a City fan, I understand the privilege we got right now, right? Like, we're in the Champions League quarters. We are in the semis of the FA Cup, and we still have a shot to win the Premier League. I'm a little frustrated this year, though. I'm not going to lie. And I'm going to bring up some things that I think are a little off. First things first, we are conceding so many goals. Comparatively speaking, and how they're getting conceded, I think has been an issue. And the problem is you can't even blame anyone because I feel like each defender takes a turn to be like, I'm going to be shit today. Or like, I'm just going to miss an assignment today. And it's not a one person doing it the whole time. So like, you know, I don't know if it is the back line. I don't know if it is the retention in midfield, but it's the one thing that I've noticed this year where on our podcast, when we did our previews, we said the most asinine thing ever. We're like, oh, City might break Chelsea's conceded record this year. No,
That's what Saul said.
Yeah,
I mean, I blame him.
It's been bad. So I want to get like your guys' take because I don't have City fans on my podcast, and I got to go to the corner sometimes and not give my true thoughts. I know I'm going to at least get something true here. No glaze, hopefully. Like, tell me what you guys think. Like, I think we're actually kind of struggling in the back this year a little bit.
I think that we are struggling at the back because we are asking more from Rodri to get up into the attack, which is hurting with the ball retention in the midfield. So, like, because like anytime, like, let's say that Bernardo was playing alongside Phil, and like Bernardo lost the ball in midfield, like it was going to be a rare occurrence, and when it happened, Rodri was there to sweep it up. Well, now it's Rodri essentially having to push up more and be more part of the attack. So now that puts like Ruben Diaz in one-on-one situations where he's not gonna succeed.
Yeah, that the ISO that's been happening on the defenders has been kind of crazy. But then it kind of takes me to my next point is the creation. And I know I was looking at the topics. I'm not going to try to take, I think Vator wanted to talk about, Haaland and what needs to happen. And I want you guys to be able to have that conversation with him. But the ability to create is something I've been really critical of Pep this year. And I think that he's been outcoached a decent amount of games this year. And I know that he's a god, but that Aston Villa game, the second half of that Liverpool game recently, and I know I totally agree with you guys. It was the most cowardice way to play Arsenal, how they did this past week. But you got to create those chances, and I think that that's been the big struggle as well. Also, we need another CDM. We need someone to help Rodri out, to your point. I think that's totally true and absolutely correct.
Here on the Lit Stream, you heard it. John said Pep is
definitely not washed.
Old man, Pep, out of here.
No, John, you're like, I feel like because we are City fans, we're so spoiled, and like I think the easiest comparison, and especially like with level of passion in this country, is college football, and it sounds very Tuscaloosa fans of us to like have these complaints, but they are still very valid. Like Rodri does have to be more part of the attack because we can't create chances. Like, and is that a function of, like Haaland is not like making, good runs in the box, or, we're not getting enough, interplay between, midfielders and the wings. So yes, those are still like questions and concerns for this season.
Yeah. I think watching Villa sometimes you get to see Unai be creative with how, on the basis of it, how they're lining up for free kicks. I don't know if it's working, but throwing just two guys totally offsides and running them back on, I don't know. He's trying something. I don't need Pep to do that, but I do feel like, I feel like the progression of Haaland this year has been a little disappointing. He's not a League 2 player. I'm not saying that. He also is leading the league in goals. I need to acknowledge that too. But there's something about watching the Crystal Palace game this past weekend, just seeing the flow of things that reminds you of like years past. And I'm the biggest Julian Alvarez fan. I'm the biggest Haaland fan too. But there's some things that you look at and you're like, man, are we missing out on easier goal scoring opportunities because of this? It's obviously you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. You're not going to not play Haaland. He's a freak, right? He's leading the league in goals, but it is something that I try to bring up on my pod just to get the other people's takes as well. So wanted to throw that out there for you guys too.
Are we all familiar here with something called the Shaq effect?
Hack-a-Shack, here we go. Let's do it.
I'm a big believer in the concept that the magnitude of a player's ability and their performance based on the previous experiences, but what it could bring moving forward, it forces teams to dictate a change in how they do things. You look at what the Chicago Bulls did in the 90s with the triangle offense. A lot of people argue that it was Jordan and the Jordan rules and all that. The Luke Longley post-up game was absolutely critical to that. The Bill Wellington post game was absolutely critical to that.
Stop.
Steve Kerr.
You're not going to bring up the Bulls.
Hear me out.
Bring up Michael Jordan and then jump to Bill Wellington and Luke Longley. You're just not gonna do it. I'm just not gonna let you. We're just not gonna do that.
That's hilarious.
He said, absolutely not. The Gen X and me cannot allow it. No.
Not with DT3. Luke had Alonzo in hell. I mean,
to give him your point,
QDT.
To your point, their ability to pass from the post was important to that offense, but it is all predicated on 23.
If Jeremy Doku, if Jack Grealish, if our wingers or our Bernardo or our upcoming 8 gets a one-on-one coverage because Erling Braut Haaland is occupying 2 center backs in the central attacking area, I look at you all and say, and we get a goal out of it, that is equivalent to assist. I'm not going to... You want to talk about hockey assist? You want to talk about the variables and the metrics that are important? I get it. He doesn't score. People have questions. I am simply wanting to point out there's a great magnitude towards his presence, and it's valuable into opening spaces. But there is a valid point that John is making. We are not creating enough around him, to which I say we have been a little bit more Kevin dependent from last year.
Very much that. Oh, go ahead.
No. Like, I was just going to say, I think this pod was covering it very well. Like, when we got Doku, the first 6 games he played, man, that was the impact that he was having. And I do think there's a little bit of the first-year player with Pep. We're relying on so many first-year players like we never have before. If you get signed by us, you play 5 games, 10 games if you're lucky, and then the next year is when you come out. But like the fact that Doku had that huge impact at the beginning and it just hasn't sustained, I got to think his injury. I'm not hoping, but I'm hoping it's not because he isn't understanding the system or whatever. But I'm wondering why that impact isn't happening anymore. So
I just think he's young.
For sure.
I just think he's young, right? And
for sure.
Looking at the documentary and watching Riyad, and I used to give Charlie a hard time about Riyad Mahrez because he was a big time Mahrez stan.
Yes, sir.
But I think the difference, because Doku is much quicker than Mahrez was.
Yep.
He's in a one-on-one. He's just as tricky on the ball as Mahrez was. His first touch is not nearly as good as Mahrez's, but Mahrez just had a skill and a silkiness to his game that Doku just doesn't have yet. It's not that he can't develop it. I think that he will. It's just not there yet. And to your point, we've had to plug in Doku. We've had to plug in Kovacic. We've had to plug in a Nunez and expect something from these guys that we've never gotten from anyone else, mostly with the exception of Haaland in their first season. Yeah. And so, it's a different team. And even with all that said, we are right there.
Yeah,
For us, we're like, oh my God, this is a down season. And our down season, it takes a down season for us to even be a true three team race.
Yeah.
What if we're kicking on all cylinders? It's not even an argument.
I don't even think it's a down season. I think I'm being a dick, which is totally fine.
No, not you. I just think in general we've become spoiled. You said it earlier. We've become spoiled.
For sure. I think the thing with Doku too is like it's that last delivery. He's getting to the spot, right? Like he's getting to where he needs to get to. It is like putting the ball where it needs to be put. And next year I'm expecting that. And when that happens, now you just have a cheat code down the right. I feel like. And this is the thing. I was a big Grealish guy when we signed him. Took him a minute. Then last year it was, amazing. I think I'm all right if he goes. I'm not going.
He's staying. Eric, calma. We cannot put 100 down on a guy, asking him to play out of position, and then coming in. He's gonna stay. But what we're pointing out with Doku though is just the inability to have selective aggression. What made Mahrez great was that timeliness to his runs, the timeliness on when he attacked. Doku is a young pit bull just fucking with everything that he possibly can. And I don't blame him. It is a fresh, when he came in, you know why we loved it so much? Because we were getting the Jack and the Bernardos really stalling and being stagnant. Jeremy Doku was an absolute breath of fresh air. Jeremy Doku is the definition of that first indica hit after working a 12-hour day. He was the release and absolute endorphins that we all needed and loved. So I'm all for it. Grealish is fine. I do want to note though, everything that you're saying, it's been what we would consider, just for shit's argument, hypercritical. Dude, it is spot on. You are not wrong about anything, but what it is, it's confessions of post treble winning seasons. Like, what are we doing here? You know, like, come on.
It's setting the bar, setting your own bar, and then you're not getting your own bar, right? Like that's the problem.
That's perfect.
And that's the biggest thing. So
it wasn't until Tarek said it, like the comparison between Mahrez and Daku. Like Daku is like trying to like train a thoroughbred horse. Like, because you saw the thoroughbred horse like need to be put out to pasture essentially, and like now you're like training another one. So like, and like Riyad Mahrez was a far more fully developed player when he came to Manchester City than Jeremy Daku was as a player. So like, you're going to experience those growing pains that he went through at Leicester, at City.
I mean, when Crunk and I did our pod earlier this year as like a preview, and like I asked him who he wanted to sign. I think we both were like Doku's like number one up there. Like I think we were both kind of spot on that one for sure. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I do know we got the summer series coming. Are you guys going to any games? Which ones are you excited about? What's the plan for you guys this summer?
So the whole crew is going, as far as I know, the whole crew is going to North Carolina. So we'll be at Chapel Hill. And then I know I'll be in Ohio. I think a lot of people are doing multiple, but we're all trying to go to North Carolina together. But I'll be in Ohio. I don't remember where. Crunk, are you going to New York? Where are you going?
Yeah, I'll be in New York.
That's what I thought.
Nice. I think I'm going to try to do New York and Ohio as well. From Ohio, live in New York. So like let's link up. We can figure it out. But I'm excited.
Oh yes, please, yes.
Yeah. Yes. The New York one will be good. Yankee Stadium is an absolute dog shit place to watch a soccer game.
Absolutely.
But getting to see Milan and getting to see City at the same time will be pretty sick. And there's no people I hate more in the world than Chelsea fans. So that Ohio game will be amazing. Yeah, there we go. I feel like it'll be a good time.
Definitely, let's hook up.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. All right, guys.
Yeah, I purposely a bad ticket in New York because I knew I was going to be chatting the entire time, not necessarily there to watch the game. I'm going to be linking up with a lot of. Awesome. I'm going to be there in New York for 3 or 4 days. So yeah, we'll definitely.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you for having me back on. Like I said, good luck with the live shows. Anyone listening, NAFTA podcast. Nobody asked for this at all. That's what it stands for. Yeah. It's quite true. But NAFTAA, wherever, Instagram, wherever you get your podcasts, YouTube, check us out. We do the full rundown, and then we kind of get into Team USA, Copa America, Champions League every once in a while, but Premier League rundowns every week. So check us out.
Shout out to Brooklyn. You got a neighborhood you want to pull out? Canarsie? Where you at? Where you at?
Carroll Gardens.
Let's go. CG, I see you. Let's go.
Nice. See you guys.
Hey, see you, all right. Now, Vator, invite yourself in. I hit that center. Get in here, my boy. Vator. So
we get excerpts from the book of Vator tonight, boys.
So I'm actually not the most familiar with him on like YouTube. Usually I'm like chatting with Patrick and Gondolo, and the conversations they're calm, they're intrinsic, they're fantastic. And then the other day I saw him on Staffy's show. Well, I saw him a few other people's, but he's like going in, calling it. He's calling Man City we and us, and it's like triggering the people in the comments. I loved it so much. It was just like, put it in my veins. It's just we make people so miserable just existing, and it's beautiful watching Vator just do his thing, because when he comes on here, he's usually just like calm and cool and collected. But when he's there, he's talking his stuff. There was one moment he pulled his sleeves up. He was like flexing. He was showing off the muscles. I was just like, what's the point into doing this other than being the most high extra in the best way? Like, Vator, get your ass on here. How much can I like keep just saying positive things about you? I will. Like,
so can we go back while we're waiting on Vator? I want to go back to the
Yes.
conversation about Holland, and I think there was the comparison to Shaq. Shaq, for as dominant as he was, always had a weakness in his game, which was his free throw shooting.
Mm-hmm.
So you played him to put him on the line because you knew that's where his weakness was. If you didn't do that, he was going to dominate. And I could go look up what his lifetime free throw shooting percentage was, but it didn't. It doesn't feel like it ever really got where you would have liked it to be, in that 75 or higher percentage. And so when I look at Holland, he is just as dominant in this sport. But also, I think it's fair to say there are maybe some areas in his game that need to continue to improve. He will dominate as he is, but in order to be the best, he's going to have to add those extra pieces to his game and just continue to improve. And that's not to knock him. That's just to say that everybody's got room for improvement, right? So whether that's his hold-up play, when we're kicking the ball long, and again, I understand the way he came into his size and all these things play into who he is as a player. But I just think that he's going to have to continue to add to his game. Otherwise, he'll be dominant, but he won't ever achieve that his full capabilities, which is crazy to say because the dude just scored 50 goals. So if you can do that with still having quote unquote holes in your game, he will literally be unstoppable. I believe in the next couple of years, because I think Pep's going to continue to pull it out of him.
Ooh, I'm gonna pull a. Sorry, Tom. I'm gonna pull a Sharpie. I'm gonna take what Tarek said, and I'm gonna be the opposite. You know what I think? I actually think if our defense did better and they could be a little more strengthened, solid, our offense would be willing to maybe feed them and maybe take a few more risky passes. But I think because our defense is struggling as they are, you can't really give those chances. And because a lot of Halan's goals were just, fuck it, Halan's there. I don't think our team feels comfortable enough in the moment to try that, honestly.
So, but it's not the defense that's the problem. It's like it's the structure of the midfield that's the problem. Like the fact that you've seen that, like playing Phil and Kevin together as those two eights. Like Charlie said it already. Like Kevin is not an 8. Kevin is a 10. Kevin's not going to track back, and Phil can do it. Phil doesn't do it very well, which is when you notice, like anytime that Phil and Kevin start together, like Bernardo always plays because he is essentially like that default 8. But because we're having it's more of a midfield issue that the defense is poor. And you would think that having that much like chance creation up in the midfield, like higher up in the midfield, up the pitch, that you're with Rodri higher up the pitch, that you're going to feel more confident sending in passes, because essentially, in theory, you're going to move the ball so well around the box that no one knows where the key pass is coming from to Holland.
I agree with Jennifer in the chat saying I think he will continue to improve under Pep. I'm pretty sure she's referring to Erling Haaland. Look, I definitely, the deficiencies are there in his game. I think he can improve. It's minimal in the sense of passing and vision and things like that. I do want to pull up a stat. Per StatMuse, Shaquille O'Neal shot a career 52.7 from the free throw line. 50,
See, I was going to give him 63 or something like that. I was even high. Wow.
His 62.9%, almost 63 in the 2002-2003 season was the highest he shot. And it's actually not 62.9, 62.2. So guy couldn't hit for shit. If Erling Haaland had 10 free throws right now, could he make at least 7, 6?
Who knows?
No, I think he might make 2.
So I actually go back to Crunk to your. Oh, sorry, you were still riffing off that, but you said that the defense, and so therefore I think if you think about teams like, say, think about Liverpool, right? We don't like Liverpool, but the reality is what can
That's
be
Atlanta.
what is scary when you are seeing them is the way that they come at you.
You should think about Liverpool. I'm thinking about Liverpool. Atlanta.
It's all good. I understand. And here's hoping that they don't pull it back out. I want them to go out.
Yes.
But what tends to happen is, and you know who else does this? United and a lot of teams. They'll get the ball in midfield and they will immediately they'll play that long ball into space. They're not necessarily concerned about giving it up. Maybe they don't feel they have any other choice. I feel like our midfield, our team, we're so technical. We know I can keep the ball, or we believe that we can keep the ball. So we want to, play more. I use the phrase tiki taka. That's not really what we do, but the idea of we're gonna pass you to death, as opposed to playing that ball early and letting Haaland run. The only time we're playing it to him is when he's got, he's bracketed by 2 defenders. We're playing a long ball from the keeper, and we're expecting him to be able to receive it, hold it up while your help comes. The problem with that is they're allowing defenders to physically put him in bear hugs and toss him around. And what do you do in that position? I don't. And again, this is me as a City fan, so I'm biased. I don't know that other strikers get manhandled in the same way consistently with no calls. It wasn't until late in that Real match that we actually started to get calls against Rudiger. And so I need Haaland to do that Jordan push off. Was it Brian Russell?
Yes.
From Utah?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm with it though. I think that's what Haaland early in his PL time, he was getting in trouble a lot for being too physical. I think that's exactly what he needs to get back into doing, is throwing motherfuckers around, and maybe he gets a warning early on in the match, but you toss a dude 5 yards, they're going to think twice about how they handle you for the rest of the match. I mean,
I think you're on something, Kronk. I agree with you. What's wrong with him getting a yellow card for aggressiveness one time? He's a fucking striker. Do it. That's exactly right. One good time to make sure Rudiger knows that he's there. I'm actually very genuinely sick and tired of Antonio Rudiger. Genuinely sick and tired of his just overall
presence. Did you see that video of Tchouaméni just like hanging on him with his like tongue out? I feel like
weird.
Like that was weird. That was weird. And I get it's just like a pissant type of thing, like annoy the player, and obviously it's working, but he does. It's fair to what Tarek has been saying. There is a growth. There's an opportunity gap right there for him to close, and how he chooses to do it, I'll be interested.
I think Henri had a really good segment on the post-game show where he was like demonstrating with Carragher. He was like, Haaland would just like try to back into people, which actually brings him to the defender, versus using his length and like holding the defender at bay, so the defender can't get a leg in between you can't have the arms underneath. So he's actually making the job easier for Rudiger or Tchouaméni, right? He's definitely more physically imposing. Just use your length. It's like a box out, right? Like box out, and then you have the ability to control the ball. And we've seen him do it before, but I think sometimes like technique gets out of the way, and like, you try to get into that physical battle when in reality you want to create space. And so what y'all was saying earlier, I feel like Pep is telling people not to play the balls. Like the balls are there, and this year he's played less with Kevin and Jack. Those were his 2 main suppliers last season. Kevin's been injured half the season, still coming back. Jack's been injured in and out, whatever, off form or whatever. So like when you take your 2 best creators, and we know Phil's a scorer more than an assister to Haaland. So we take your 2 best creators. That's why the numbers are like, 19 goals now PL versus 20 something at this point last year. Plus he was injured. But I'm saying, like, we're still great. Like, we still have the second best defense, third best defense in the league, and second best offense. Like, it's a great problem to have. And I feel like now that we're all getting fully healthy and you see Jack ticking on, you see Kevin coming back minus Paella, I feel like we are going to, like, see us take off in the last, like, 10 matches of the season, all comps. Like, it's just the beginning, for real.
I hope Kevin stays away from seafood for at least a couple of weeks. Like, just stick to gravy, fish and chips, the Manchester Keys, and actually, no, stay away from fish and chips. Even though, like, no hate to any of the fish and chip spots in Manchester, because I know that's your thing in gravy. But yeah, maybe if you just got to drink gravy for 2 weeks, I don't know. Figure it out, my boy.
DT3 says,
Is it really the fact that he ate whatever it was, seafood or whatever it was, or was it the fact that he was in Madrid when he did it? And kind of like the whole, I think it was the Jordan, he got food poisoning in was it Utah? I don't forget.
It was Utah.
Yeah,
Utah.
so you have that game, so it's like,
are you saying Kevin stayed up all night gambling and drinking and lied and said that he had the flu? Is that what you're saying, Derek?
Hold on. Did we just promote some slanderous situation in which the flu game occurred for Michael Jordan? Michael Jeffrey Jordan genuinely had bad pizza. We actually know that.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, he had bad pizza. What?
Did
Clint,
he?
let me find out you're a quiet LeBron sexual over here. Don't let me find out you're a LeBron sexual. Because if you are a LeBron sexual, we will have an entire pod dedicated to LeBron sexuals.
Wait.
I want to be clear. I'm questioning you, Crunk. Please answer the question. Are you a LeBron sexual? I'm asking.
I am Paul Pierce propaganda over here. I stay diehard for my Celtics.
Crunk, look me in my eyes right now. Are you a LeBron sexual? I'm asking you a
Knicks
question.
cooking the Celtics tonight.
No.
Thank you, Charlie. Let's go. I was about to bring it up. Let's go. The Knicks tonight, Crunk.
We clinched playoff like 3 weeks
Knicks
ago. Like, what are we
tonight,
talking about?
Crunk.
Is what we're doing.
The
Okay,
Knicks,
we'll see you in the
Crunk.
playoffs. This is what the Knicks do all the time. So loud before the playoffs, and then the playoffs get here. And
Yes, I'm a horrible Knicks fan. That's right. I know. I know.
You're a great Knicks fan.
We're losers, and we embrace the fact that the moment we're slightly good, we're coming after you, Crunk.
I'm sorry.
So you're basically Arsenal then.
Calma.
Oh no.
Calma.
Oh no.
Calma. I'm hurt. But it's accurate, but I'm hurt. It's accurate, but I'm very hurt.
Oh my gosh. Oh, KDB go vegan. This is all that. Yeah, just for like 2 weeks. Go vegan. Oh man, okay. Vator, I don't know what's going on, my boy. We're gonna get you on if we have our final show of the season. I have a third slot that I still have yet to get a guest for. So if you're okay with taking that slot, we can get out of here. I got to make some carnitas. Well, I got to reheat my carnitas I made yesterday. So I'm just like, oh man, I put my foot in them things. Oh my God, they're so good. I'm getting pretty good. I'm pretty good. I'm a little proud of myself. So yeah, thank you to our guests. This was a wonderful chat. It's good to see. Oh man, this is multiple shows to see my show bros, all of them at once. This is so nice. I'm getting spoiled. I am Crunk Chocolate. We got Tom Bomb. We got Sharpie. We got Lando. We got Tarek. We are Shades of Blue. This is the Lit Stream. We will see you Saturday morning for kickoff show, Luton Town, an hour before. I think it's a kind of early morning match. Vator, don't apologize. You're good.
No apologize.
You're good, brother. You're good.
Technical difficulties is sort of thing with this. So, like, you're not the only one. There was a whole episode where that was the whole joke. Shout out to the Comets supporters group. Matthew, appreciate you. Yeah, we'll see you all soon. Let's get those 3 points, baby. You said it, DT3.
Let's go,
Right.
DT.
Yay, you know the vibes. Shady gang, shady gang, shady gang.